All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the House of Kayfabe here on the YouTube channel. The other Steve is in the House of Kayfabe. Also, the other Derek Jones. That is the only Derek Jones that matters. And we are joined by the trial chief. Acknowledge him, Stephen P.
Oh, let's talk about it. Look, Adam Harris is the best, if not top three in the whole goddamn nation of indie announcers. Steve New, I know where you're at. These goddamn announcers in the WWE, why do they have to do what Adam just made fun of?
Oh, no,
No,
that's
they,
not cool.
dude, you're
They did
fucking
a fine
better than
job.
those guys. No, they didn't.
Adam is so humble. Adam doesn't bury anybody.
No, Adam is so
too
classy.
Nice to bury people, but I've said this in ASW for years and years. Adam Harris is the best. I don't care the company. I've been to MLW. I've been to AEW, and no offense to Justin Roberts.
No offense to Justin Roberts.
Adam Harris is better than all of them.
Well, because you know what? And here's what's good about what he does is he's like Finkel. You know what I mean? He's there to just clearly state that and he doesn't assume that he has to hype up. There wasn't 80,000 people there. They're saying it's more like 65. But the fact that these fucking announcers are trying to get themselves over, Adam never tries to get himself over. And good announcers, not just Adam, but good announcers, don't try to get themselves over. But
they're already over. Howard Finkel was over. Adam Harris is over. He doesn't need a sound.
Did we need to start this video again? Did I do something wrong?
No,
I thought we were talking about WrestleMania.
It reminded me.
I'm gonna get in on this because I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. I've been to a lot of indie wrestling shows. Adam Harris is like a top three for me. And this was before I knew who the guy was. Damn. And I'm not involved with ASW other than the fact that I know Adam and I know Steve and I know some of the guys that work there, but I've actually only been to a handful of their shows. Adam's a top three from the pros down for me of all time.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Well, and we're putting you over, Adam, and I know you want to crawl out of your skin, but it really is so we can also bitch about what I think are cringy announcers in all of the major promotions.
Well, I just want to step in and say thank you, first of all. And I did not pay for this message. I could never afford such afford such accolades. Samantha Irwin, Irvin, however, does a great job. I think she's amazing. And I thought her work, both in the women's match from Saturday night and also in the main event tonight. I mean, she has the iconic Roman Reigns entrance. Okay. And so for her to be a part of history that way, and then at the end of the night to be able to carry it on, like to be able to say the words that nobody wanted to hear. And still. And as a ring announcer, I look up to her and applaud her for having delivered that message to the universe.
And this is why Adam is the best of us, human-wise, on the House of Kayfabe. So we've all can agree that day two was not day one, and it wasn't day one by a damn long shot. So let's just go ahead and get into this. Derek Jones, I asked you what the indie people, the AEW cats thought about Brock Lesnar, and I liked what you had to say about him. What do you think about this 4 minute and 55-second match between Brock Lesnar and Omos? And if Omos if he doesn't win here, what's the point of him?
He was a space filler because Brock was planned to work somebody else and it didn't pan out. So Omos was a space filler, but you can tell that Brock has some respect for Omos based on the way he got tossed around in the early goings of this match. He got scoop slammed at least twice that I remember. And when he picked him up, I'm looking at him like, man, that looks like Kevin Nash picking up a luchador. Like Omos is a big dude. And you don't realize how big he is until he picked up Brock like he was a loaf of bread.
So did this get Omos over more with you?
No. But it made me appreciate Brock a little bit more, knowing that he was willing to do the right thing to make Omos look stronger than he probably really is in real life.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
he
And
didn't come out looking bad in that match, I don't think, by any means.
not at all. No. And I think that's why Brock is a good opponent for him, because Brock can always come out looking good. And because of the professionalism of Brock, I think this is what helps Omos get over, even taking the loss and doing it so quickly. I thought you're right. And Brock doesn't get enough credit for his selling. I'll always maintain that. Even back in the day, he would sell in the right situations. And this
watch
match,
those
I
angle
thought,
matches. Watch those Brock Angle
definitely,
matches,
especially for Kurt friggin' Angle. Yeah, especially. And I was gonna say something else about almost. Oh, my predictions again. Once again, I was really bad on my predictions. I thought there was going to be a Hurt Business run in. I thought this was the return of Lashley as a heel. I thought they might all just gang up on Brock, and that's where we write him off for a little while. And so the fact, I was not expecting it, but it was a big win for Brock Lesnar and a quick one.
It was a 5-minute match total.
Wow.
First 3.5 minutes is almost beating up Brock. And they did the tail of the tape before and announced almost at 7'3" tall and 451 pounds. That is a big man.
That's
right
Andre
there.
numbers. That's 2
Yeah.
2 inches short of Andre numbers. Yeah.
Those humans shouldn't even exist that big. I think that we can all agree that this did what it needed to do.
Do we know who the producer was, Steve New? Do you still have that information looked up?
Just one moment.
Well,
and I can tell you.
It was a night, and I think there's some parallels to be drawn between having Cena open night 1 and Lesnar open night 2. Okay. We talk a lot about WWE not building stars and whatnot, but here we are. The 2 biggest stars of the whole weekend were in the first 2 matches. Okay. They got to the hotel room a little early. By the time room service was still available, by the time Brock and Cena got back to the room. Right. So
I want in my Mark Hart, I just want him, because Brock's run this time, even on social media, it seemed like the facade of mean has broken. I would assume it's probably because he has children, and we have like this cuddly Brock guy. I want to play this out in my head. I really want Brock to have went back to the bar and just had like 25 flaming Dr. Peppers lined up for all the fellas when they got back, and it would be an alpha move, because let's be honest, Brock Lesnar could be like, hey guys, I made more money than all y'all wrestling tonight, and that's probably a shoot, right?
And you're lucky I didn't want to beat one of you, because I would have.
Exactly.
For all you young kids out there who don't know what a flaming Dr. Pepper is, in the 90s, we used to put a shot glass full of 151 rum, light it on fire, and drop it in a mug of beer and drink both at the same time. And
I've done many. I've done many in my life.
I would like to think Brock Lesnar has never done that, but we'll see. I don't know.
Parties.
That was my drink of choice at Marshall, ladies and gentlemen.
So the best part about the whole thing is, and you talking about Brock being soft and cuddly, when he come through that curtain, he could invoke real emotion. He was smiling ear to ear when he come through, and he got that pop. He got to emote to us how much he appreciates that we appreciate him.
I love it. I love
knowing what we know now. Right. He was probably hamming it up a little bit.
And it was a 5-minute match. Yeah. It was perfect. A 5-minute. My friends and I just looked at each other. They made me rewind it, and then we watched it through again, knowing what was coming up next, just to see just how short the match, in fact, was. And watching it 2 times very close, the friends of mine that I had over for WrestleMania, they were like, that almost is going to be good one day. When he learns this stuff from the right people, he'll be good. Be interesting to see, but is a monster of a man. He really, really is.
I wouldn't write him off.
Well, I do know that Kevin Nash has been working with Omos. I know that for
produced by Jason Jordan and Adam Pearce. Harris.
Jason
it was
Jordan.
Jason Jordan and Adam Pearce produced.
Let's get Jason Jordan in there on some producing. Okay. Yeah. All right. The future is here. The future is now. Cool.
Well, I'll tell you what's not, I wish wasn't in our future during day 2 was this match. It was Women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya and Shotzi. That makes no sense. Why put those together?
I go first?
Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville by submission. Yes, Adam,
You
put
can
this
be the
over
only one to go if
first.
you want to.
I might be able to sum it up.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there were a lot of great entrances during WrestleMania.
Oh my God, Adam Harris is going to run for governor one day.
None of them happened during this match.
I did not see that coming.
Joan Jett wasn't in LA, is what you're telling me.
No.
I've watched Joan Jett play.
Baszler walked down to the ring looking like Iron Man. Like it was almost like they were trying to emulate, cartoon characters. Ronda Rousey was in the gi, and so in that respect, I actually admired them. I thought these guys look like actual stars. Liv Morgan and Raquel totally forced. I don't believe it. Same with Shotzi and Natalia. I don't believe it. Unlike the men's showcase match, which at least they're finally calling it what it is. I believed in everybody in the showcase match of the men's, but I don't believe in every tag team in this case here. 2 weeks ago, Carmella was teaming up with Chelsea Green. And this time, she had a whole new tag partner. Yeah, and which it works. Chelsea's amazing. Chelsea can make anything work. And there's a reason she's back in WWE. And she hit a pretty amazing move in there. And everybody got their spots in. But there was just not a whole lot to rest on. This was, a time killer. It got everybody on the card. I admire all the women's work in the match. But Shayna and Ronda were out of it the whole time until the finish. 1, 2, 3. So maybe that's a smart way of doing it. They didn't have to take any bumps. And they proved to be the most dominant. But that's Ronda and Shayna. Maybe they're going to challenge for the tag belts. I mean, that seems to me like this was one of the predictions I got right, because I think that Ronda and Shayna seem to be just so much superior. And we talked about the disparity in the women's division. I think Ronda and Shayna, even though they don't look so great here, are still above and beyond, any of the other presentations of the other women in this match.
And that, dear viewers, is Adam's report of that match. So the next one is a match that I guess
produced by Petey Williams.
Okay.
Good job,
Poor
Pete.
guy.
Tyson Kidd was at catering. They couldn't find him. They're like, Petey.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, so apparently these three men forgot that they were in professional wrestling matches and just decided to come out and have about a 2/3 shoot. And we've got Gunther, who defeated.
They read the news. They read the news that broke. They're like, "Oh, UFC, huh?
Oh yeah, let's just beat the fuck out of each other." Steve knew this is the closest to an old school match that we have for the whole fucking thing, because all these were live rounds. Nothing, everything. This wasn't even snug, Derek. This was just like almost to the point where someone needed to call Stephen P. New for his fucking lawyering. Like, did Steve New talk about how brutal
what
this
the
was?
hell am I supposed to do with those three? You put me anywhere near Gunther, Sheamus, and McIntyre, I'm not doing anything except making sure I'm not getting hit with some of that stiff shit.
No, I'm saying that, like, if somebody, like, there was assault charges and they would have to call you. That's how bad this was.
If they weren't willing participants, that crimes were committed during this match.
If anybody were not willing,
if this weren't consensual, crimes were committed during this match.
How many felonies do you think was in this match? That's a way that we
weapons.
That's a way that we can rate hard matches. Like, how many felonies was in this match? Like,
in all seriousness, Derek and I talked in the preview show about you didn't need to add McIntyre to this or anything like that. And we understand, as wrestling fans, we understand the strategic reasons for doing it and all of that kind of stuff. But daggone, once we were in it, and some of those guys were teeing off on each other, and God bless them, they needed to get breathers and things like that, my goodness, with those chops and those lips
dude.
and those, what was it, 29 forearms Sheamus delivered to Drew McIntyre's chest.
What website are you guys getting this from? 26 super kicks,
I counted
39
along in
forearms?
real time there, Adam Harris. So
Here's
I
the thing,
mean,
UFC now, a big part of UFC that's kind of been added over the last 5 or 6 years, and Derek knows this, is like stats, like, significant punches and takedowns, and they have like stats now. And that's what
Man.
Endeavor
Beware of that
bringing to
in
the
WWE,
WWE.
man, because
But,
you're going
I
to bury
mean,
your referees. I'll tell you that.
Just Gunther, man, he looked like $1,000,000, and he was taunting McIntyre and Sheamus throughout the match. Come on, Sheamus, and just the smacks to the chest,
that man,
and you could feel him. Goodness.
And like, didn't at
gracious.
one point Sheamus and McIntyre like both be beating on, like they gave him like 21 beats of the Bowery or
Yeah.
something? Like, I mean, like, come on,
Yeah,
like
yes,
this match. And that's the thing, is like
uh,
we are prejudiced against triple threat matches because they've been put on every indie show,
right,
and
right.
they've been put on every pay-per-view. But when in the hands of 3 top guys, it's a beautiful thing, and I enjoyed every second of this match.
Both
And
were
I
guys-
wasn't expecting Gunther. Again, they worked me. I thought for sure it was Sheamus, man.
Before you go, Derek, and I want you to speak on this. We all were down on it being a 3-way, but now after watching the match, here's the thing: there was so
It's the
much
right thing to
abuse,
do.
2 people couldn't take it. They
No.
needed a third person to like
take-
even
to
out
take
the
some of
fucking
that.
abuse. Derek Jones, you love this match. I know you did.
I did. I loved every second of it. And I don't like triple threat matches. I don't. This is second best triple threat in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. Number 2 coming out of it. And they did it right, because I talked about it a little bit before we come on. The best part about this match was, Steve said it, occasionally they take a breather. It was a lot of one-on-one. You didn't have 3 guys attempting to beat the snot out of each other and tripping over each other and not knowing who's supposed to go when and where and whose hand holds what. And you just didn't know. And that's usually what happens in a triple threat or, a showcase match. And that's why I don't like them. There's too many people going too many different directions. These 3 guys pulled this match out almost to perfection. The very beginning had all 3 of them, a little bit in the middle had all 3 of them, and the ending had all 3 of them. Everything else in the middle was, I got you, you got me, let's see what we can do. And
when the guy
great.
was laying out, it made sense, right? It was kind of like, oh,
right,
he just got laid out. Of course we have some time together, because that dude just took a huge
and
amazing bump.
there's a great picture online, if you look it up, of Drew and Sheamus laid over on a set of steps in the back after the match, just holding hands with one another.
Right,
It's fantastic.
I haven't seen this.
It really is.
picture
They're
speaks to
laying
that
there
match.
holding each
They're
other's
like
hand.
touching
Yeah,
hands like that,
yeah.
kind of like.
This
and
should
the
come as
caption
a
was
shock.
like,
This should
have
come as
beer.
a shock to nobody. That match was produced by Abyss.
wow, cool.
Are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure
Impact
it wasn't
Zone.
his brother? Are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't his brother? What was his brother's name? What was Abyss's brother's name? Derek, help me.
Parks.
When he was
Chris
the
Parks?
lawyer, and he
Chris
got
Parks.
was it Parks?
Yeah, Chris Parks.
Okay. Oh, so good. So that match is so good, it could have easily and should have probably been on day 1. So let's move on. Derek Jones, I want you to speak on this because I'm ready for a fucking burial. And look, man, I like both of these competitors. I said so on our preview, and I know where Adam stands. But man, Bianca Belair defeating Asuka, quite possibly the second worst match of the whole weekend.
Quite possibly the worst match of the whole weekend.
Well, there was that chick female. It was the 4-way female match.
They did better than these 2. Bianca botched the mist.
God damn.
It was awful. She was never where she was supposed to be unless Asuka had a hold of her. She was never where she was supposed to be. I understand they want her to be the future, and she's extremely athletic, and her character is extremely over the top and stupid. When she is herself, she's so much better than whatever this crap she does whenever she's on TV right now. She should be more than she is, but she's not. She's not progressing. They're trying to force her into the limelight for whatever reasons, and she's just not doing it. Asuka,
You're talking about Bianca.
I'm absolutely talking about Bianca Belair. Asuka is fantastic. She has a history of being good at what she does. She has a history of being successful in Japan. She was great in NXT. What, she went undefeated for how long?
Yeah.
2 years or something?
It
Not
was
some
over
nonsense.
300 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely 300-400 days. Yeah.
It was
Preach.
ridiculous. And it made sense because she was that good. She could showcase and have a different match with different people every night. And then you put her in this match, and both of them looked awful because of one of them.
Mm.
I think it's, I mean, I agree with everything that you just said, everything that you said.
Worst match of the weekend.
It was pretty bad. It was actually awful. I think that this was a problem of, and I wonder if these two had worked house shows moving up to it. Like that has to happen, right? Maybe.
You
You would hope.
It looked like bad. It was just bad chemistry. It was two different styles. And neither, man, you're right. It was all Bianca.
I don't know if part of it's a language barrier or
I don't know, because Asuka's
Who
had all
else
kinds of great matches.
Yeah, who else has had
That's
that
right.
bad of a match with Asuka?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And like and I said a little bit earlier, like I'm loving the long title reigns, which they did for Bianca here. They said it was a year. She won the belt last year at Mania. She's been able to hold on to it for this long, you know. And so I'm all about that. But I think in this case, it would have been better for Asuka to say like she ended the 1-year reign of Bianca Belair and finally had her WrestleMania moment. And so even more than any of the other matches this weekend, I feel like this one could have gone the other way and made both competitors still come out strong, you know. And you're right. There was just some not so good chemistry here. It took them a while to get going. And not the best match of the weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I was actually looking forward to it. Steven, you got anything else for that match?
Guys, I'm gonna say something that I probably shouldn't say.
I'll cut it out if it's that bad.
I do not approve this message.
Did you check the legal side behind all this?
Oh yeah.
All right,
yeah.
go for it.
Okay.
Opinion speech is protected. I think that as long as Bianca Belair is coming out to the ring with disadvantaged children from inner cities, WWE is going to keep putting her over.
Well, we're not saying that's not bad. That's fantastic. We were
And
just
I
talking
love
about her in
Knoxville.
the
But
ring.
she doesn't need to hold a belt to do that.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It just seemed like, especially when Asuka
Another amazing entrance, you know, another amazing entrance on WrestleMania.
When Asuka was doing a lot of her grappling submission stuff, it just really looked like Bianca just didn't know what to do or like what it was. Did you get that feel, Derek?
She had no clue to how to even sell the armbar. And when Asuka put her in that armbar, I was like, she's going to do one of two things here. Either she's going to win or she's going to break that arm as a receipt for her being stupid this entire match.
Well, okay. So in Chris Jericho's first book, which is, I think, the best wrestling book, maybe McFoley as well. But in Chris Jericho's first book, he has a saying, if you want it to look real, then just hurt each other.
Damn.
And what she should have done, and maybe old school, if you're not going to sell it, I'm going to make you sell it. If she was in Japan, she could have done that, Derek. Like if somebody is not going to sell that, you know, a legitimate maneuver.
She said, let me teach you what Minoru Suzuki taught me one time.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
She at least knows enough to cinch that up. And that's the difference between, you know, now and like 30 years ago when me and Steve fell in love with the business. So
you don't want to be the great Antonio to Asuka's Antonio Inoki in this case.
Didn't Asuka knock a girl out for a shoot in NXT, Derek?
Yeah.
Who was it? In a match, she knocked her out.
It's when she first came on, and I can't remember if it was Natalia.
Man, I believe it
who.
though, because she's a. I mean, Asuka's a heavy hitter, and I will say Bianca showed a couple moments where it was like she was actually laying it in for once, because I feel like Asuka was probably laying it in too. But Bianca has a lot of talent, man. I don't, you know,
we've seen her have great matches, which I think is why we're disappointed, because we're not saying. You got to remember, just because we're burying this doesn't mean that, man, she didn't have great matches with Becky. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So we know it can happen. It was just this particular time and space, and with this particular competitor, it did not work out. And I tell you what,
well, this was Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd coached this, produced it.
Well, I tell you what, I can't wait for you to tell me who produced this next one, because the next match in quotations is The Miz with Shane O'Mac.
This one might have been a Vince McMahon production. Quite honestly, man. We found out he might have been on the call.
guess who made the call for Snoop to get in the ring and hit the elbow?
Dr.
Has to be
Dre.
Vince.
Michael
Has to be.
Hayes.
Oh,
Okay.
of course it was. The
Michael
oldest
Hayes.
man in the fucking
Was he closest to
building.
the microphone or what?
He-
Because I mean, let's be
he's-
honest. Like,
he
come
was
on,
in
it
the
was pretty
referee's
obvious.
ear. He was in the referee's ear for what Shane should have been doing. And Adam, talk about how great that the call was.
Oh man. Oh, you're making me want to pull it up just because it's so tremendous. Because
is
Shane comes back and another great entrance, like huge entrance.
He did
huge
get a big pop. He got a
and
big
he was
pop.
blown up, which I think somebody said in the chat, like, "Oh, Shane is blown up, man."
Right.
Ultimate
Running to the
Warrior
ring, he's
style.
blown up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Which I'm wondering, like, guys, how much working out did Shane do before this? Honestly, was he doing matches?
No.
Was he working with Tyson Kidd? Was he rolling around with Drew Gulak?
Are you saying
at the
that
Performance Center?
Are you saying that Logan Paul prepared more for his WrestleMania moment than
By a
forever
thousand,
in the
right?
business, born unto it? Shane
And
O'Mac
Shane thought his blood, was just owes him this,
made of tiger blood.
And it's amazing because I've seen, thankfully I've been to, thanks to ASW, I've been able to see some training seminars, and I've been to see some of the greats working one-on-one with up and coming, superstars of the future. And the drop down, tackle, leapfrog, it's like it becomes part of the vernacular. It's like a sentence, right? I mean, it's like this is prose to them. And Shane pulled out the classic leapfrog, drop down, quad tear. And nobody saw it coming.
I didn't see it coming because I was in the chat with you fucks, and my wife was actually watching it.
If you looked away, you missed it.
I missed it, and I had to go on Twitter, which I'm not on, so I could fucking see it actually happen. Now, Derek Jones, this unfortunate situation with the Shane O'Mac
talking, guys.
added.
Well, the call by Corey Graves, which you asked me about, was, Michael Cole says, Shane still got it, which was in the middle of the leapfrog. He still got it. Leapfrog. Shane drops down, tries to hit the drop down as Miz is coming off the ropes slowly, I might add. Miz was not in a hurry. Miz was like bouncing slowly off the ropes. And as Shane tumbles to the ground trying to get up, Corey Graves says, well.
Now, the unfortunate circumstances that,
and I hate that we're laughing at Shane, but I mean, that poor millionaire.
Well, the unfortunate circumstances that befell a poor, helpless, penniless Shane O'Mac led to what I think is one of the most memorable moments in all of WrestleMania in all 39 years. Because, hey, look, man, the shit stain says that that the crowd loves a shoot, right? They love a shoot.
Doubt.
Well, here's the thing. The shoot was Snoop Dogg had to go work and throw 2 punches at the Miz.
The veteran Snoop.
And dropped the worst people's elbow in the history of the sport and hit him real hard, like landed all however much he weighs, and he's got to be bony right on top of him. Derek Jones, tell us about how you'll tell your newborn child about what you saw this day.
I won't.
When your newborn comes back on YouTube and watches this.
Dad, were you watching WrestleMania in 2023 when Shane blew a quad and Snoop Dogg punched Miz in the face? Yes, son, I was.
And it's a girl, dad. It's happening,
Sorry,
I will let
baby,
her.
Yes, sweetheart.
And I will
yes,
let her know that these are the most special moments in wrestling, because when a show is as long as WrestleMania, occasionally you need to pee. And that's when you go.
So you might have missed this.
But unfortunately, I didn't have to. So I had to suffer through Snoop Dogg hitting the ropes like this.
It was so awesome.
Both arms down.
Even when he does shit he don't know how to do, he does it with drip, baby. It's phenomenal. Okay, so I want to ask you, Adam Jones.
He was like bouncing onto a mattress.
Adam Jones, I got one for you because
He's
Jones
Adam Harris.
Don't call me Adam Jones. I know who that is.
Tool.
He's not the Pac-Man.
I'm calling you out,
guitar
Adam
player
Jones.
from Tool. Adam Harris, you know, in your shoot job, you run a once a week live program without a net, and there is no going back on it because if something gets fucked up, it stays there. Now things go wrong,
right.
Adam.
That's right.
And how money is it when your crew, when things go badly, but your crew who is experienced can fucking, you know, pick up the slack and make the thing happen.
That's
how
a great
much would you
analogy.
have loved to have Snoop Dogg on
the team, right?
Team
Yeah, no doubt.
when
on
shit
the team.
goes
yeah,
bad.
Yeah. Well, I like to say that what we do is like making pancakes, except if we burn one, we have to eat it. And so in this case, Shane McMahon burned the pancakes and Snoop Dogg came out and he poured some strawberries and cream and a little bit of whipped cream on the top, and he hit the world's worst people's elbow, man. And we all enjoyed that pancake, man.
God,
Holy
it was so
cow.
good. It was
So,
so good.
It was so
Thank
good.
you, Michael P.S. Hayes.
Here's the
Okay,
thing.
well,
though.
and
There you
here's the
go.
thing. I give him credit. Triple H in the press conference kind of alluded like, oh, it was all Snoop and this and that. I'm sorry, Jessica Carr, the referee, said people's elbow about 7 times audibly. If you go back and watch it, which I did,
Well,
you know, she was like making it clear, like, here's the call, you guys, like people's elbow.
And also when he dropped that horrendous elbow, the Miz came up off the mat and goes, pin me, and then drops it back down. So like, go back and watch that. He comes up, pin me, and then fucking drops it, right? And of course, you know,
As
Snoop
if there were
Dogg,
any question. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg doesn't grab the leg. He doesn't hook the leg. His fundamentals are lacking, Derek.
Well, he was trained at the Nightmare Academy, right? Or am I wrong?
I don't know that they even wanted to put any time and effort into the guy.
It shows.
But here's the thing. So
He's Snoop Dogg. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
You have one of the best mic workers in the business there in the ring, and Shane's flat on his hind end. Why does Miz not just pick up a mic and cut the most dastardly heel promo ever and
kind
walk
of froze, right? He kind of froze.
He
froze.
did.
Well, it is the boss's son, after all.
Yeah, but man, they all know Shane O'Mac's a fucking
Shane's a professional.
He's a professional.
Mhm.
I tell
He
you what,
gets
if it was, and to Derek's point too, if it was MJF, he'd have went over and just started stomping on Shane O'Mac. That's what he would have done. So, you know, I think it's one of the all-time great moments. I think that it was probably is Snoop already a Hall of Famer?
He is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, that hey, look,
before Andy Kaufman, by the way.
Hey, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, because he's a total pro. So this
at this point, I think if he did call, which I like to live in a world where he just called that, was like, I need to drop the people's elbow, I'm coming in, then he should be inducted into the other arm of the WWE Hall.
They should put him in Cauliflower Alley, is what they should do.
That's right.
So okay, so now we're getting into the meat of it, and this is something that, you know, I don't think there's no way around this being a letdown. You know, we got Edge coming out to a Slayer song. Look, I'm a very simple man. If you play Slayer in your theme song coming to the fucking ring, I'm going to be a child about it, because I've been listening to Slayer about as long as I've been watching wrestling. And he comes out to the Demon, much to Derek Jones's approval. The Demon had his old music back. Derek, because I know you were ready for this to be the thing, how much of a letdown and how much did this affect your day 2 experience?
So this was the match that I looked forward to second most of the weekend, because obviously the main event of night 1 is the reason we all paid money, or some people paid money to watch the show. Barker's questionable sometimes, I don't know.
So before Cody even, this is the match.
I got to have The Office. I got people.
Right. So this is the match that I really wanted to see. I'm a huge Balor mark, and I love Edge. They're both great. All of the rumors that are circling as far as the Brood coming back and Christian being free to work there and Gangrel possibly being there for the weekend, you know, Judgment Day interference, it would have just been perfect. absolutely perfect. It had all the right elements to be match of the weekend. It had two of the most athletic guys on the card, two of the most believable guys on the card, two guys that can tell a great story in a ring, and it fell short because of stupidity and an accident. I understand that it all led by an accident, but here's you put them inside of a steel cage for a fucking reason.
Uh-oh. Here you go, Steve New. Your run-in's coming.
And I'm gonna say that while Steve meditates, because it's pissing him off just thinking about it again, as it should. You put him in a fucking steel cage for a reason. And the reason is so nobody else can get in there, medical staff included. Why in the world would you let someone come in there to doctor a man in a steel cage match? If the blood was what was bothering you, then you wrap them up and you tell them to go home. You find a way for them to wrap. You do not stall the match, staple the head, put a little glue on it, send him back out there, and then tell him to wrap up, because it wrapped up very shortly thereafter because they didn't want him to stay in the ring. So if that's what you wanted, let the blood be imagery. Let Edge pull the head back, showing the blood pouring down the face, pin him, send him back to get medical treatment. Ridiculous.
Couldn't agree more. Did anybody think, as did I, Mick Foley was probably going, doctor in a steel cage?
Even his stretcher was a work.
I was just gonna say he
But
did a
Mick
stretcher
Foley
and it
was
was
like-
a work.
Mick Foley was like, screw you guys. You know, and so and Derek is 100% correct. 4-inch gash. Okay, then make that a part of the match. You know, you don't pan away as if people are stupid, you know, and a doctor comes in and unlocks, it comes in and staples and then glues, and then you put him back out there, and they do a couple of more maneuvers each anyway, and Edge goes over. Just like Derek said, somebody call that on the fly. Now, Jamie Noble produced this match.
Yeah, you know what? You know why?
Our boy from Hanover, West Virginia, I bet he was shitting like a dog passing razor blades, shaking it.
Nah, man. You know why
How'd
that
that
match
happen?
went on? Because he's from West Virginia, son. And he's like, fuck, merely a flesh wound.
Right.
Get the fuck back to work. You know where I'm
That's
from? I've got people's houses that I can't even take showers in. That's where I live.
Right.
That's why that
Somebody
happened.
that never missed a shift to coal mining with a gash like that, Ballard. Keep going there,
Get it
you know.
going.
But I mean, you could have done a couple more things. Make the blood part of it. If you're in a cage, you got to, and if it's going to be some, you know, extreme rules inside the Hell in the Cell or whatever you're going to call this, you got to understand that something like that is going to happen, and you just roll with it.
Yes.
Blood and all. And you just go with it. You go home a little shorter than you planned on. It really pissed me off watching it in real time that they took 3-4 minutes out to staple his head to just go home a few minutes later anyway.
Real quick before Derek and Adam go, the one thing that I really did take away from it, if it would be a positive, is when The Miz was faced with something that didn't go as planned, we all agree that he was like, you know what? Edge, like a goddamn professional, started doing stuff. He started moving around the ring, looking for shit to use down the road. If you notice, he kept the attention there like a professional. He didn't need to go pull out 17 fucking chairs, but he picked up on, and that's just wisdom. And that was a beautiful thing to see about that. That's the only good thing that you can say about the match. And is it ironic that a ladder let Edge down? Like usually you think of the ladder being the thing that maybe got Edge over in the first place, and the ladder came back to bite Edge.
Now, Derek, I have to think that spot, when you're getting a ladder thrown at you, the trick is to lead with your arms so that your arms, Balor apparently was leading with his head.
It didn't look that rough to me. Like, I thought he made it look like it connected. It didn't look vicious.
When you see the slow down there, the slow-mo, it's brutal. It hits real fucking hard.
Well, but I think it's just a positioning kind of a thing, or maybe it came over his arms too much.
Well,
I
or
mean, it just
something, but-
happens. You know, it's
He-
wrestling.
And honestly, he may have thought that he would have been in between the rungs as it was coming
That's
at
what
him.
I was
so
thinking.
trying
Yeah.
to still lean into it so the arms didn't look like it took everything, but the position, like I said, the position of the ladder was awful.
And maybe it was even that part of the ladder that folds under that kind of
could have
cut
been.
cut
Mm.
right through his, and that guy's just like 4 inches long.
Well, and if he did it that way, it's because he was trying to make it look as good as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and I think part of the reason it didn't look, you know, to me, it didn't look that vicious because Finn is an amazing veteran.
I mean, and a lot of us thought this would be the match of the weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it had all of that potential.
And again,
I hate that happened.
on my predictions, I kind of thought this might be the Judgment Day weekend. I kind of picked Dom. I kind of picked Rhea, and then I kind of picked Finn. I thought
Yeah.
Edge doesn't have anything to lose. You know, there's a chance he could take this loss and build up the Judgment Day. And I legitimately thought coming out of WrestleMania Day, it's going to be Judgment Day time. We'll see. It's still kind of Judgment Day time, but they're going to take some time and readapt it, it looks like. But here's what I want to say about the blood and about all of that and the stoppage. Who knew that they'd sold to the UFC?
There you go. I talked about. I
Is
talked
that
to
what
Derek
they would
about
have
this
done
in
on the
chat.
UFC? I mean, come on, fuck
This
on.
is something that is worth talking about, and I'm a big UFC mark. Derek is too. Here's the thing: they are now sister companies with a organization that shows far worse shit on their television.
Way worse.
Have
Way
you
worse.
seen Anderson Silva break his leg?
Yeah.
know what I
Way
mean?
worse.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, we've seen gaping
Dude.
gashes. One on Brock Lesnar.
Real quick, the only time I remember watching UFC was in the very early days. I was staying with my sister who was in college at the time, and it was like 2 or 3 or 4. Like it was in the single digits of UFC, and some guy broke his hand hitting
just
another
kept-
guy on the head.
Right.
Yes. It gets
And-
way worse. I think that we could see
As a wrestling fan, I'm like, no, that's not how we do things.
I think that we could see a reversal of blood, because how can the WWE? Because at least when the WWE does it, it's, you know, it's still brutal. Let's be honest. If you talk to the regular person on the street and say, "Hey, man, there's these people that take razor blades and cut in their foreheads, make it look cool," they would look at you like you're a fucking moron, right?
I don't think punch for punch though.
But there's far worse injuries, dude. Look at Brock Lesnar's gash he's got right here. Who gave him that, Derek? Not Francis Ngannou. It was the Dutch kickboxer. Anyway,
Mhm.
Nobody
The one
watches
that-
that on this channel.
so, Derek does. I think that we could eventually see some blood. Now, unfortunately, you know, this match got fucked because of an accident, and as they say, it's not ballet. So that brings us back to, okay, is everyone ready for this? Do you have your therapist on the speed dial? Because this main event, and I think because so many people have such strong opinions about it, may not have been the worst decision that they made. We've got the Roman Reigns versus the Cody Rhodes, and Derek Jones. You just wanted Cody to win. And I can tell you the moment I knew it wasn't going to happen, but you go ahead, Derek.
I wanted Cody to win. I needed Cody to win, and I said it in our recap. I still think that the decision was wrong. Even if they wanted Roman to maintain being the champion, Cody still has to have wins under him to carry this true blue American hero all the way to the finish line. You can have a disqualification finish to give Cody the victory and Roman the belt. And that's the way this match should have went if you wanted to maintain Roman as your champion, because then it not only gives Cody the win that he has to have as this, you know, red, white, and blue Captain America, but it gives more progression of the story as to why Cody's still not the champion. I'm not the champion, but I beat you. I have the victory over you, but I'm still not. So I'm coming for the belt that I didn't get with the win that I got the first time.
Adam?
Oh, shoot. I mean, I see where Derek is coming from, but the story is much longer than this, and I know that's hard for some fans to accept. And I don't know if this is Vince McMahon. I don't know if it's Triple H. I don't know if it's Cody Rhodes. Stephen P. New is going to tell us who produced this match. It might be Michael P.S. Hayes for all I know. I don't know.
It was, in fact.
It was?
He
Yep.
does all the Roman's matches.
No shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
God bless
Yep.
Michael
Know
P.S.
that.
Hayes.
Good
And
man.
golly. But I think, how do I say this in the right way? I just think that we don't even know. Like, the whole world thought that it was the right time, and it's not the right time. And I've already have 2 theories about where we're going, but I will just tell you guys this, is that I thought it was a sure thing. And I already told you, I thought the main event of last night's show would have gone differently because I was so sure that Cody was winning the title. And after my shoot job, I rushed to a bar in town that was showing Wrestlemania. And I got there just in time for the entrances. Amazing entrances. It had that main event feel. Gave me all the great feelings that it probably is what it was like to watch Hogan and Warrior at 6, you know. For me as a kid watching it the first time, it was much different than what it must have felt like as a fan, like Edge did in the arena. You know, Edge was there when they fought. So for me, this was like that kind of feeling. I felt it was like watching that. And I will say that I've already had my story. You know, I've seen a couple theories about where they're going to go from here, but it was not the time. We all thought it was the time, and as Roman said in the press conference, you know, this is not McDonald's, this is not fast food, this is not quick service. We're telling a long-term story here, and Cody's going to have to fight his way up, and there's going to be a few challengers, I think, in between now and the tribal chief losing. And I will say one other thing. If you're UFC, if you're Endeavor and you're about to buy this company, who do you want coming out on top? Roman Reigns, who has over 600 days or whatever it is now,
known commodity,
or is it this other guy who he left a few years ago? He started his own company.
Damn.
Why did he leave and he wasn't top guy there? Like, who is Cody Rhodes anyway? With Roman Reigns, you have the solid story. This is a solid thing. He's legitimate as far as I'm concerned. If you're a company that's owned by UFC and you look at Cody Rhodes, I'm sorry, not as intimidating as what Roman Reigns is. And so I feel like in all those reasons, this is the right decision. And I didn't see it coming. And at that bar, there were casual fans who were looking and saying, wow, talking about Roman Reigns, he's going down, because Cody kept kicking out. And even the people who had no idea what was going on was like, wow, Roman Reigns is going down tonight. And when that 1, 2, 3 hit after the spear, the whole place, there was, I don't know, not a lot of people, but everybody popped. Nobody thought there was going to be a 3 count, including myself. And I jumped out of my bar stool and I threw my hands in the air, man. Fucking Roman Reigns retains. And not what I expected, man, and not what anybody expected.
I knew that. And when I go into watching, especially matches I care that much about, and this one I did, I don't really try to do the prediction thing. I just kind of sat down like I'm going to watch Stranger Things. It's like, okay, I'm here. Take me on the journey. I don't really want to put my thing in there because especially for WrestleMania, maybe on a Raw, I may say that. Here's the one moment. And this goes back to mine and Derek's video about Cody Rhodes.
Great video.
When Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn came in and cleared house and made it even. Okay, that's good. That's old school. I know what that means. Midnight Express just got thwarted by the Rock and Roll Express in the middle of a dusty Ric Flair match. Makes complete sense to me. Once Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did their maneuvers on Roman Reigns, look, guys, Cody Rhodes is not going to win under dastardly deeds. And here's the thing that all of the internet marks that are, and I'm one, I'm not saying that disparagingly, that are so upset about Cody Rhodes. You don't know your fucking history. You don't know your tapes. Stephen P. New, tell him Dusty Rhodes spent his whole career when he was on top in Florida, in Georgia, in the Mid-Atlantic, and Jim Crockett getting fucked. Getting beat up and never stopping Adam. And coming back. Like Steve knew this is Dusty Rhodes chasing how long for Ric Flair before he finally got it for 2 weeks This is, if you're buying into Cody Rhodes trying to connect you to the back end of wrestling, Steve New, tell him about Dusty Rhodes, one of your favorite wrestlers. How many times did you see him win, period?
Oh, not many. Now, like I said, at the house show at the Logan Field House against the Great Kabuki, yep, Dusty was winning. And in a bunkhouse match against Big Bubba Rogers, Dusty was winning. But if it was for the title, then Ric Flair was going over. I've seen 2 Dusty finishes with my own eyes in person.
I've seen one.
And, they call it the Dusty finish for a reason. That's because the Charleston Civic Center had erupted in joy that Dusty Rhodes had defeated Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship, only to have the referee figure out that something was amiss. Flair retains. The announcer comes out, and on further review, the referee has reversed his decision, ladies and gentlemen, and still NWA World Heavyweight Championship. But the psychology of this, who is Cody Rhodes going to be? For Dusty Rhodes, he was the common man. All right. And common man was chasing the American dream. Chasing the American dream. And the joy of that is the chase. It's the promise of a brighter tomorrow, the promise of something better, and the joy of that isn't that the common man gets it like scratching a lotto ticket, and then he goes and buys a tiger and a bunch of whores and a bunch of cocaine and all of that. No,
hey, how did you know?
The joy, no offense to anybody who enjoys that kind of thing.
No, that sounds like what I would do.
The joy is the chase, the chasing of the American dream. So who is Cody? Cody's the all-American good guy. And Barker, I think you got a great point. He wasn't going to win with a haluva kick or with any kind of outside interference. He still gets to say it took, just like he said last night, took 2 of you all to do it. You
got 4 altogether.
You couldn't beat me one-on-one. And, so I think that's what we have to look forward to. He's going to have this, whatever he's going to have with Brock. And if they go back to Saudi Arabia, are you telling me that they aren't going to pay $3 billion this time for Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes? Hell, Brock will go over. Those Saudis are going to want to see Captain America get his ass whooped in Saudi Arabia.
That's a good point.
So, Derek, there's a psychological test that we give. It's called the marshmallow test. In the marshmallow test, they tell some kid, you can have a marshmallow now, but if you wait for an hour, you can get 3 marshmallows.
God, I love you, Steve Barker.
So, Derek, do you want your marshmallow now, or do you want to wait an hour and get 3?
Get 3 marshmallows.
Do you want your Lucky Charms, Derek? What is it?
I'm pretty hungry right now. Is the problem. You've been starving me for a year. I'm hungry.
Trying to get him out of the territory. Someone starve that motherfucker.
So if we're leaning to the idea, and I know it's just us talking comparison to Flair and Dusty, and Cody made the comment, it took 2 of you. Does this lead to Cody and Roman in a cage?
Well, if it does, this is the kind of long-term storytelling that we're looking for, man. And here's the thing, and the God Emperor talked about it on his podcast. If you make the people feel so bad that Cody didn't win, you may have just lost them. So there is a tightrope walk, which is always the thing when you're trying to write a good song, tell a good story, write a good fucking paragraph, right? That's what they're on now. If Cody Rhodes can keep this up and somehow beat Brock Lesnar, maybe next year at WrestleMania when he wins it, it will be the biggest pop in the history of the world.
I agree.
Right? Now that is, of course, completely hypothetical.
And here's what worries me about that. Because we talk about wrestling fans being cynical and finicky and picky, and because of the internet, there's so much desire for instant gratification. Do the fans stay behind Cody that are just Cody fans because he's facing Roman, or is it okay? Let's move on to the next one. We don't care about Cody no more.
Can I chime in?
Go.
Because we were all talking about Cody's next opponents. We were already booking his title
we
run,
really
you guys.
were.
We were already booking it.
His babyface title run. You're right, Adam.
But there's more opponents to come. It wasn't easy for Roman, you guys.
Yeah.
He had to beat Brock Lesnar like 3 times or something.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, how many wins does he have over Brock Lesnar?
I mean, dude, Adam,
0.
You've made
0.
the best fucking points on all of this. You are a wrestling Sophocles today.
Well, and
Jesus.
I'm just following along. I was with you guys. I mean, we all thought Cody was winning, but now that it's not happening, I think, oh, it's actually perfect. You know, it's not time, and Cody's not the guy. What if Cody came out with the belt, you guys, and all of a sudden we're like, this is not so good, and it's AEW all over again, and he won't go heel.
You know that Cody he has fought Rollins, and then he got injured, and coming back, he's fought Solo. Who else has Cody
Chad
beaten?
Gable.
Okay.
Right.
Somebody else.
Who have you beat?
Derek,
Joey Janela?
Okay, so actually, now that you put it like that, since he came back, he's only had like 5 or 6 matches in the WWE.
Right. So if he beats Brock Lesnar, if he beats Sheamus, if he beats
Seth Rollins is going to have to come around too.
Seth Rollins again,
We got a year's worth of Cody matches, you guys.
But if he beats some top heels on his way to getting his rematch with, and Cody said it last night, but Heyman isn't going to give that rematch freely. So May 23rd, May 27th, 2023. Anybody know what that is?
2 days before my birthday.
Other than that, auspicious day. That's day 1,000.
My calendar says no events.
Day 1000.
Day 1,000 for Roman
there you
Reigns
go.
is
There
May
you go.
27th, 2023.
There you go.
I think he gets there. I think he gets there. Plus, you're going to see Cody fight some other people before SummerSlam. It's probably a SummerSlam.
I'm glad you said that because it's
thing.
too good. It's too good to not do it. If you can't say he had almost 1,000-day reign.
Right.
You've come too far.
Yeah.
You got to be.
This is pretty obvious. How did we all figure that Cody was going to win? Now
Because
that we
we're
talk about it like
marks.
this, we're
Right.
marks.
Well, and listen, I just want to say, and like this is going to ruin it for everybody, but I just saw a clip from Bubba Ray Dudley today, man.
Oh, he called this, didn't he?
He said Cody's got to go through hard times.
Yeah,
And
baby.
it makes all the sense in the world.
And this was a
We've got to
prediction
watch
from
Cody
Bubba Ray.
come from the bottom.
Right.
Be very
Yeah.
be very clear on that. This was a prediction before WrestleMania.
Right.
He said that
Was it?
before
Okay.
WrestleMania.
Okay. Because I didn't realize that. I thought he said it after the Brock turn. That was my understanding. But either way, I mean, it makes a lot of friggin' sense. And it shows how genius they are. And here's the other thing that I saw and I can't get out of my head is that Triple H said at the press conference, he said, the story's laid out there for you. You know, I mean, it's all in the story and we're going to finish the story.
They
And
said
this
they're gonna start
story.
chapter 2.
Yeah. So what did you say, Derek?
He said that we're just getting ready to start chapter 2.
Yeah. And this whole bloodline thing, you guys, started with Roman versus Jay Uso. Is this Jay's story to finish? Is this Jay Uso's story to finish? And once I saw that, I thought, wow, they are playing chess.
They may do that, but look.
And it might even still go from that to Cody.
Nah,
even.
there's another guy out there, and we all hoped he was going to show up, and it's going to fucking happen. There's no way that The Rock is not going to come lay up at the lights and looking at the lights for his cousin. It's going to fucking happen.
That can still happen.
That's going to happen. That has to happen before maybe
So-
Cody Rhodes wins.
So if we're doing that, I need that to be SummerSlam, and Cody and
I was just
Roman
gonna say
to
SummerSlam.
do it in Mania in Philly.
That's great
Man.
because we'll be there.
A year is a heavy lift, man. A year is a heavy lift, but they could do it. They did it with Cena and Rock, as we just saw in the AEW biography.
They've done it with the Bloodline.
I
done it
could
with the
see it
Bloodline.
I could see it just as easily being Cody goes over at SummerSlam, then you start giving him the heel opponents going into Cody versus someone at Mania next year. And then they're being questioned about, is Roman the head of the table? Is Roman the guy to lead our family? Da 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 da. And at the Royal Rumble, The Rock comes out and goes, you were never the head of the table. I set this table for all of you guys.
Because my telephone knows me really, really fucking well, I get push notifications for anything that The Rock says. And you know how it is. You just search for shit and it ends up showing up on your goddamn phone. And over the last year, he has no less than twice alluded to who the actual head of the table is in an interview with Vogue or whoever the fuck, right? So it isn't like this is coming out of nowhere. It has been talked about on the periphery by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the biggest disappointment of a star in movies.
And think
ever.
about that. Roman doesn't need the belt to face The Rock. That's a co-main event in any arena in the world.
I think that's where we're going.
You can have Cody versus whomever you want, either on night 1 or night 2, but Roman versus The Rock.
But I'm going to try to leave it with this one. What Cody Rhodes has done from Stardust, I think maybe this gets a little bit lost on just because we get so emotional about this thing we love and we go immediately to the negativity. But something that should be said in Cody Rhodes' defense is this guy was fucking Stardust. He left. Ted DiBiase Jr. left. Fucking Mason Ryan left. There's so many people that's left. And other than Drew McIntyre lately, nobody has been able to go out. Matt Cardona could do it if he wanted to. He doesn't apparently. But they went out to Japan. They went to Ring of Honor. They went to AEW, and they went to Indies. Cody Rhodes was wrestling Indies. I think he probably did Bola. Derek, did he do Bola?
Yeah.
Of course.
Did he wrestle Nick Aldis? He wrestled Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
The fact that he went out and built his stock back up and to come back and in 1 year go from whatever he was doing in AEW, and I don't want this to be a bash AEW thing, at the end of his run in AEW, I think was atrocious. I think it was god awful. When he took the bump
flaming
into
table.
the flaming table, but that was the finishing maneuver. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in wrestling. But for him to go from that to now, he's had 5 fucking matches or 6 matches. Maybe he's had some house shows that we don't know about.
I didn't think it would work.
Right.
I just didn't think it was going to work. Much less did I think it would work this great.
Brian Resner and Derek Jones were the only two back in the day when I thought his stock was down that kept telling us Cody Rhodes is a goddamn wrestling genius.
Right.
Shut the fuck up and do the thing. Derek,
he's the most carny.
Tell us why Cody Rhodes is so good.
Which explains why Resner likes him.
He's the most he's the most carny of wrestlers. He still views wrestling as 1960s and 70s and early 80s style wrestling, as in the crowd is your marks. How do you appeal to the marks? Are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? Stop that in-between crap when no one knows who's what and who's facing who. Stop putting 2 heels in a match together and 2 baby faces in a match together and expect the crowd to know how to cheer for them, other than I kind of like that guy and I kind of like that guy, because you don't get a pop at the finish.
Or even worse, Derek, every baby face thinking he's a badass heel or vice versa. That you got the heel who is the Steve Austin wannabe badass good guy. Not everybody can pull that off.
Right.
No.
And in our Cody video that me and Barker done, I kind of talked about that. guys like Steve Austin are making it possible for Cody to be this character because everybody's trying to do what they were doing in the Attitude Era. Everybody's trying to be an anti-hero or anti-establishment and not just being true blue to what you are. You're either all heel, MJF, or you're all babyface, Cody Rhodes. They're about the only two guys in the business that are one or the other right now. And that's why
right.
they are over like they are, because you can visually see and appreciate and know how to react.
It's outstanding. This match was outstanding. I think
was a great match.
Great
I
match.
think we can again we
God.
can get so caught up in what we wanted to happen. Just be glad of the fucking ride, because it again, Steve knew going back to the day one, it was a slow plodding match that crescendoed and crescendoed and crescendoed and crescendoed.
Yep.
It was very, and then it makes sense that Michael Hayes
And
was
Roman
the fucking
toying.
agent. Yeah, fucking with him.
Cody.
At first, he was really
disrespecting him.
strong, and then he got really anxious. And I think we can't go any further without acknowledging the genius of Paul Heyman at ringside.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. Paul Heyman is living art.
Yes.
It's the best way to describe him, because
Every single count mattered.
his facial expressions, like he was never off cue, he was never out of character. He was
right.
as immersed in that match as anybody.
He thought every pin from Cody was
The
going
end
to
of the
be
world.
it, and he
Yeah.
thought every pin from Roman was going to be it, and you saw it in his face. He was surprised every time.
He worked ringside as if he had no clue the
Yes.
outcome of that match.
Yes.
Right.
Brilliant. He's a treasure, another national treasure that
He
should be
is, that must
protected.
be protected.
Put him in the same cube as Bailey and lock them
For all
away,
the different
please.
reasons.
Yeah, for lots of different reasons.
I
Dude,
don't
if he
know,
was
it's about
locked
the
in,
same size on the back end.
if he was, dude, if Paul Heyman was locked in like a cage with Bailey being protected, they'd enter, or like they'd leave and she'd owe him money. That's how much of a like
Yeah.
shyster businessman that guy is. She'd have already like signed away all of her likeness,
Right.
all of her
Right.
NIL. So Adam, look, WrestleMania was great. 2 wasn't as great as it should have been. 1 was more great than we thought it should have been.
Yeah.
Adam, wrap us up with
Well-
WrestleMania 39 from Los Angeles.
Well, and I just want to throw it back to the pandemic WrestleMania, where Charlotte and Rhea Ripley had the best match of the weekend. And I said it back then. I even went back to my notes from 2020, and they had an awesome match back then. And there's more than one long-term story that's being told, because we saw Charlotte and Rhea have another amazing match all this time later, and we saw Cody, and I think he's going to be going through hard times in the
Hard
upcoming
times,
weeks,
baby.
man. And we're going to be here to cover all of those amazing moments here on the House of Kayfabe. It's what a pleasure to talk WrestleMania with you guys. Nerd Marks marking out the other Steve, the only Derek Jones that matters, and the Trial Chief. One more time, acknowledge him. Stephen P. New here on the YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.